it's Miss Hailey. I am the ag agent for both Upson and Lamar counties, as well as I am on the state board for the Georgia Cattlewomen's Association. So today what we're going to be reading is Sarah's Shining Star. So if you remember the book that we read earlier, which was called Sarah the Showman, this is the second portion to that book. So this book is a whole series. So today we are reading Sarah's Shining Star, written by Miss Rachel and illustrated by Miss Kimber. Would you ever think a girl could become best friends with a cow? Well, believe it, it's true. Or at least it is for a little girl named Sarah, who lived on a ranch in Texas. Sarah loved to be outside and loved being around animals. When Sarah was old enough to join 4-H, her mom and dad helped her pick out a Brahma heifer to show. She started out slow, but with practice and help from others, Sarah won many grand champions. Sarah's family raised Brahman cattle, who loved the hot summer days in Texas. Sarah and her family thought Brahma cattle were the best. But at shows, Sarah noticed other breeds. There were Angus, they were all black, Charolais, all white, and Herefords, who had a red body and a white face. There were also another breed that's really caught her eye, Shorthorn. Sarah and her family read about Shorthorn cattle. They were gentle, good mothers, and had beautiful long hair. And you never know what color their hair would be. Shorthorns can be red, they can be red and white, they can even be a mixture of red and white called a roan. Shorthorns reminded Sarah of snowflakes. No two shorthorn colors were ever the same. There was a problem though. Sarah lived in South Texas. There weren't any shorthorns down there. It was too hot. So Sarah's dad started studying the Shorthorn Country magazine. He picked out his favorite shorthorn farms. He liked one up in Fort Worth and lots in the Midwest, all the places where the weather was cold. If they wanted a shorthorn, looks like they might have to make a road trip. Sarah and her family drove for 2 days to go to a beautiful farm in the tiny town of Modoc, Indiana, where there were hundreds of beautiful shorthorn heifers for sale. This was a little different buying a heifer, since in the past Sarah's family had raised all their own show heifers. They spent all day looking for the very best heifer they could afford. As soon as they saw her, they knew the heifer they wanted. She was solid red with a little white spot on her forehead. She was really sweet. When it was their time to bid in the sale, they were so nervous. This was the most beautiful animal Sarah had ever seen. Sarah made a wish on her special mark that they could buy her. When she came in the ring, Sarah's dad started bidding, and they got her. They were so excited to load her up and take her to her new home in Texas. They all agreed her new name would be Star. As soon as they got home, they unloaded Star in the barn. Star looked a little confused. It was hot in here. What were all these weird-looking cows with humps on their backs? And where was all their hair? Since it was a winter night, Sarah's dad put all their cattle in a warm, heated barn. But Star didn't want to be in the heated barn. She loved the cold weather. It reminded her of Indiana. She wanted to be outside. Star was confused. The next morning, Sarah and her dad came to work at the barn. After feeding all the calves got tied, Sarah started combing Star's hair with this round metal comb that she had never seen. Star was confused again. Why didn't Sarah have a Scotch comb? It was like they were trying to get rid of the hair, not grow it. Star also noticed that Sarah brushed her hair straight down instead of brushing it forward. And the weirdest of all, Sarah and her family didn't even have a blower to dry any of the calves' hair. They just kept brushing and brushing and brushing. What was going on here? The next day, the county agent stopped by to check on their new heifer. When he walked in the barn, he stopped in his tracks. "No, no, no," he said with a laugh. He explained that shorthorns were different than Brahmas. They loved the cold weather. They shouldn't be in the heated barn. They wanted their hair to grow as long as possible. You combed the new hair forward, not down. You needed a blower to dry their hair and train it. Sarah and her dad were so glad the 4-H agent came to help them. Now they knew what to do. They would have to learn a different way to work with their shorthorn. They had a couple of months until the big Fort Worth stock show, so they would make sure to be ready. Every day they rinsed, combed, and blowed Star. They put a fan in the barn to keep her cool. Her hair grew longer and longer. Star was grown so much hair that she looked like a woolly mammoth. Sarah and her dad were getting a little worried though. How in the world would they make Star look right for the show? They weren't fitters. They didn't even own clippers. Thank goodness Sarah's dad had a friend who was an expert at fitting. He was a shorthorn breeder named Mr. Buck, and he was willing to help. He promised Sarah's dad that if they could just get Star to the show at Fort Worth, he would work his magic on her. When they got to Fort Worth, Mr. Buck nearly fell over when he saw Star's hair. He had his work cut out for him. He clipped, and then he combed and combed, then clipped some more, then combed some more. It took 5 whole hours to get her ready. When Mr. Buck was finished, Sarah and her dad couldn't believe their eyes. Star looked like a beauty queen. As they thanked Mr. Buck, he just smiled and said, "That's what friends are for. Now go out there and show like a champion, Sarah." When showtime came, Sarah put on her lucky number clip and went up to the show ring with confidence. It was her first time to show a shorthorn, but she knew she could do it. There were so many beautiful calves in the show, just like the snowflakes. Every calf looked different. Sarah didn't win Grand Champion, but she was so happy because her best friend Anne won Grand Champion. Turns out Anne's family owned the farm that Sarah's dad picked out before as his favorite farm in Texas, the ones from Fort Worth. This was Anne's favorite show. After the show, the judge called all the kids back up to the ring to announce the Champion Showman Award. Guess who won? Sarah. Sarah and her family were so proud because winning showmanship was something she earned through all of her practice at home and lots of hard work with her calves. Sarah had a great time at the Fort Worth Stock Show. She met so many new friends, had a delicious cinnamon roll, got to see Cowtown, and was proud of her showmanship award. It was fun to try something new, make friends, work hard, and do things with her family. When she tied Star out at the tieouts that night, Sarah snuggled up to Star in the warm hay. She looked up at the real stars in the sky and thanked the Lord for giving her the chance to show. What's next, Sarah thought? Maybe time to show a pig. After all, It was a wonderful life as a shonen. And that is the end of Sarah's Shining Star. I hope you enjoyed this second book in the series of Sarah Our Shonen.